everyone, my name is Kara. Welcome back to my channel. It is so good to have you here today, and I'm so excited for this video. You have absolutely no idea. I just got back from the UK yesterday, and I took some books home with me, okay? I knew I had some extra room in my suitcase and I took advantage of that, all right? I have, I think, at least 13 books to share with you today. How did I get all these home unscathed? I don't even know. There is not one, wait, maybe just one, little accident that has happened with the books, which is shocking for me if you know and follow my channel, okay? So if you have watched a few of my videos and have not subscribed yet, I would absolutely love it if you would hit that subscribe button down below. But if you are new here, welcome to the video. I am just so glad that you are here. So I don't even think I can tell you how many bookstores I went in on this trip. I think it was at least 10. I am not even kidding you. Reed was so annoyed with me by the end of it. But I was having so much fun. I was literally living my best life. So the one goal I had whilst on this trip was to go to Waterstones, and I wanted to get a Waterstones special edition, which you will see later. But I got this from the Waterstones in Piccadilly, which was literally insane. It was like 6 floors. It was massive. I got this on the first day that I was there. It is The Trees by Percival Everett. This is also a signed edition. I was so extremely jet lagged when I got this book. For some reason, I thought it had won the Booker Prize, but it didn't, but it was shortlisted for the Booker Prize. And I've heard such great things about this book. This is a book that centers around a small town in Mississippi, and there are murders happening in this town. And like, there are murders that are happening, but then there's also like a second murder happening on top of it where like the body looks like the body of Emmett Till, which is someone who was lynched like 65 years before. And then it's like spontaneously more murders like this start happening around the country, and they think that they are due to retribution. There is a big conversation about race in here, and I think it is a very, very fast-paced novel. I have heard literally nothing but great things. This is signed by the author, which is sweet. And I have a feeling once I start this book, I'm literally not gonna be able to put it down. I think it's gonna be a really well-written novel, really great plot, and I think that there's going to be a very thought-provoking commentary to this whole book as well. So I feel like every time I look at this book, I'm just going to always remember how jet-lagged I was when I bought this book. But I really do think it's going to be a great novel. I'm really, really looking forward to reading this. All right, next bookstore I went to was Daunt Books, and I got The People in the Trees by Hanya Yanagihara. I have been wanting to pick this book up for so long. The People in the Trees is Hanya Yanagihara's first book, and I know A Little Life is kind of almost like a response to this book. I know this book centers around exploitation. It is about a man who visits this island where these people live in this village, and it's extremely remote. Like, they are not in contact with society. And it's kind of like this lost tribe. They do not have contact with civilization. They are really on their own. I think this man is like researching these people, but basically trying to uncover their lost secrets, which I think he accomplishes. And then he goes back to America, and I think he kind of discusses all the secrets that he finds, or it's something along those lines. But I know this book talks a lot about exploitation. The point of view is that you are watching as this man exploits these people, whereas A Little Life is talking more about a person who is getting exploited by other people. A Little Life and The People in the Trees are kind of reflective of each other in that way. I've read Two Paradise and I've read A Little Life. A Little Life, if you've watched my channel before, it is my favorite book of all time. Unbelievable writing. Hanya Yanagihara is just like literally the most incredible author ever. In my opinion, I love her writing. She just really grabs you with her characters. I have high hopes for it. I don't think I'm gonna give it a 5-star, but I think I'm gonna really enjoy it, and I just want to read everything that she writes. So that's why I got it. All right, next bookstore that we went to was Forbidden Planet, which is basically like a big fantasy sci-fi bookstore. It has like manga, it has comics, it has fantasy. It's not just books, it also has like action figures and like literally anything anyone who's interested in fantasy or comics or anything could ever want. Forbidden Planet has it, and it is a massive store. We got 2 books from this place, and they had the most incredible selection of fantasy books I've ever seen. If you ever go to London or the UK and you can go to a Forbidden Planet, you need to go to Forbidden Planet if you like fantasy. Like, this is a fantasy person's paradise for real. One goal book that I wanted to get while I was there was one copy in some kind of Brandon Sanderson novels, We have not all of the Sanderson novels, but we have like all of them in the US editions, and like the US editions are fine to me, but I love the UK editions. And so we ended up getting Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. This is the full bind up of it. I know that there are other editions which split it into 2 parts, but we kind of wanted it to be a total bind up. This is the only copy of the Stormlight Archives that we do not have in a physical form. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy it then, because I know I love this book. I think, to be honest with you, Way of Kings has been my favorite so far, which is shocking because it's such a slow start to the books compared to Words and Radiance and Oathbringer. I still haven't read Rhythm of War yet. I knew I wanted to get a copy of one of Brandon Sanderson's books. I just love the UK covers. I think they are so stunning and so beautiful, and I wish we had access to them here. And obviously I couldn't buy all of his books because they're literally each 1,000+ pages long. But the Stormlight Archives is a extremely epic fantasy novel. I don't even think I can explain it to you. It's literally just about this world Roshar, and there are humans and then there are non-humans on this planet, and they are at war with each other. And you're following a set cast of characters as they are going through this war, and the supernatural things start to happen and things start to be revealed, and it is so tumultuous. It is so epic. Like, I don't think I've ever read anything more captivating than this series, and I would give anything to watch this series be played out in TV, but it will never be because it's way too complicated. But like The Way of Kings, this first book, I laughed, I cried, I went through every single emotion, and it is probably my favorite book in the series, and I'm just like so glad to have a UK copy. I'm so happy about it. You have no idea. And the next book that we got at Forbidden Planet is actually a book that Reed got, but I'm still gonna show it in this video because I feel like hopefully one day I will get to these books, and this is a really cool cover. And that is Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. This is the second book to The Blade itself, which I literally have absolutely no idea about. I have no idea what this series is about at all, but I wanted to show you the cover because it's really pretty and it has foiling on it. My fiance Reed is reading this series right now. He is like the biggest fantasy lover ever, and I think these covers are so beautiful. Like, again, these and then all of Robin Hobb's books were just in every single bookstore, and I wanted to take all of them home. I thought they were so pretty. Again, I know this is another epic fantasy novel. I don't really know the plot, and I don't really have a desire to know the plot at the moment because I have way too many other fantasy novels on my TBR. But I wanted to show you the book. I think it's really pretty. I think it's really cool. Sounds like it's another fantasy novel about a war. Isn't that what all fantasy novels are about? The next 2 books are really, really special to me because I got them whilst book shopping with Becca and the books, and that was a pinnacle of my life, okay? We went to Waterstones in York, and it was literally the best time. I had so much fun, and I finally got a Waterstones exclusive edition, and that is Wolfsong by TJ Klune. Can we just look at this? Number 1, it's a signed exclusive edition, okay? So appreciate the cover, absolutely stunning. Ready? Are you ready for it? I mean, come on. Like, US, you are skimping us on these cool editions. Like, literally these sprayed edges editions were everywhere. Like, you could get them at so many different bookstores, and I'm just like, what is happening? Why do we get shafted? Why do we get shafted with these really cool editions? This is just so stunning to me. So Wolfsong is a series, and it sounds like it follows this boy over a period of time from like young teenage to young adulthood. His father abandons him when he's like 12, and then like some weird neighbors move in or something like that, and then there's some murders that happen later on. I'm not really 100% sure of the plot, but at this point I will read whatever TJ Klune writes. I read both The House in the Cerulean Sea and Under the Whispering Door, and both of those gave at least 4.5 or 5 stars. Absolutely incredible. His writing is so wholesome. Every book I've read by him is just like the biggest warm hug ever. It is just amazing, and I don't really know what this is about other than this boy gets abandoned by his father, and then it sounds like a murder happens or something along those lines. It sounds like there's more of a thrilling plot than his other few books I've had, but this is a chunkster of a book, and I am just so happy to have a signed sprayed edges edition. It's just glorious to me. Like, also his signature is legit. Like, that's not just scribbles on a page. That is actually TJ Klune. I love it. This is such a special book to me, and I will definitely be displaying it on my shelves. And the next book that I got while book shopping with Becca is I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. This is my first manga purchase ever, and Becca was the one who urged me to purchase this. We were just kind of like browsing, and we got to the manga comic section, and I was like, yeah, I've never read a manga, and I like don't know anything about them. And she was like, you should read this. And I was like, okay, done, fine. I'll read it. So I Want to Eat Your Pancreas is a book about a young girl who has pancreatic cancer, and one of her classmates ends up finding her diary and finds out that she has pancreatic cancer, and then they kind of like form this friendship. It basically is a friendship where she wants to be treated like normally, like she doesn't have cancer. And Becca just made this book sound so cute. I have a feeling it's going to be really emotional. Like it deals with a really heavy topic. Yeah, I'm just excited. Like there's so many pictures, and it's actually like quite long, and you read it backwards. I mean, I am entering a whole new world here with manga, and I'm excited to take a dive in. I think this is gonna be really good. I'm probably gonna cry, and that's all I want, you know? All right, so the next set of books, it's a huge stack, okay? I got all of these books at Toppings Co. And Toppings Co is a bookstore that is in Edinburgh. It is the best bookstore I've ever been to in my entire life. They have thousands of books, and the bookstore is just like the most cozy, comfortable place you've ever been in. It is so cute. So I went to Toppings Co twice because I couldn't withstand myself. Also, it was literally in the center of town, right by our Airbnb, and I couldn't help it. So the first time I went with Olivia from Live for Reading. I will leave her link down below. She's on Instagram. She is such a sweetheart. We got to meet up, and it was such a fun time. But I bought way too many books with her. She was such a bad influence on me in the best way possible. But I'm so excited for all of these books. She also has such a taste for literary fiction as well, so it was so fun to go with her and just vibe off of each other on the books that we were interested in. So the first book that I got is another book that has sprayed edges, and I literally saw this and I couldn't say no, and that is CloudCuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. I mean, ready? Are you like the ombre? I can't. This is just so stunning to me. I mean, literally incredible. I'm so obsessed with this. It is so beautiful. Okay, I don't know what this book is about at all, but my sister read it, and I know she absolutely loved it. She was like, I literally could not put it down. It was so good. It was so beautiful. I've read Anthony Doerr's other book, All the Light We Cannot See, and that was a really wonderful book as well. It was so beautifully written, and I just know that this book is probably going to be in the same vein. There's really not even a synopsis on this book, so I don't even know what it's about literally at all. It says that there's 5 people and they are connected by storytelling, and that's pretty much it. What I know from my sister, people absolutely loved it. This is a stunning copy, and I just cannot wait to read this. And also, I've read a book by this author before, so I know it's gonna be good. All right, next book I got is Intimacies by Katie Kitamura. This is a book that Liv recommended me. I don't know what it was about. She was just like, hey, I think you would like this, and I bought it. So I don't really know what this book is about. Again, it's a very short book, so I don't know if I want to know a ton about it, but I can tell you it is about this woman who is an interpreter. She has a lover who is having an affair with the interpreter, and it sounds like there is some kind of like act of violence that happens that really stirs the whole plot, and the interpreter ends up having to like decide which kind of life she wants to live. Honestly, that's what I gathered from reading the back of it. I don't really know a ton about this book, but it says it was one of Barack Obama's favorite of 2021. So if that tells you anything, I'm sure it's gonna be a great book. I'm really excited to read this. I think it's such a cool cover. It's just like cool girl vibes. Like if I was reading this on a train, like, so excited to get to this. Thank you, Olivia, for recommending it to me. Next book I have here is Motherhood by Sheila Heti. This book grabbed me. You know when you're in a bookstore and you see a book and you're just like, ooh, that looks cool. And then you pick it up and you start looking at it and you're like, wait, this sounds amazing. So Motherhood is talking about a woman who is at the age where she should be having children if she wants to have children. And she's kind of grappling with whether or not she actually wants to be a mother. It is a book about womanhood, it is a book about parenthood, and it is a book about moral decisions and deciding where you fit and what is right for your life decisions. And I just think this book is gonna be really contemplative, and I feel like I'm gonna do a lot of reflection whilst reading this, and so that's why I got it, and I'm so excited to read it. Next book I got here is one that I have been interested in reading for a while, and that is Never Let Me Go by Kazu Ushiguro. So this is a really, really well-known novel. I have read Clara and the Sun. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't like my favorite book of all time, but I've heard that this one gets better reviews than Clara and the Sun. All it says for this book is Kazu Ishiguro imagines the lives of a group of students growing up in a darkly skewed version of contemporary England. Does that mean dark academia? I'm not sure, but I feel like I've heard such good things about this book, and Clara and the Sun was like so imaginative. It had such an interesting concept behind it that I feel like I could get behind this too. And I feel like this one, like I said, has been more highly recommended than Clara and the Sun. Also, this cover is just like sweet. I am so obsessed with this. I saw it and I was like, okay, I have to get that one because I know I want to read this book, and I just like, I'm literally obsessed with this cover. Plain and simple, it's beautiful. I am like in love with it. It's so cool. All right, I have 2 more books from Toppings Co. The next one is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. This book, super short, beautiful, stunning cover. Olivia recommended this to me, and she was like, the UK cover is way better than the US cover. And I mean, are you kidding? This is sick. Like, this is such a sweet cover. Literally, I feel like half the reason I bought so many books there is because the UK covers are just like absolutely stunning, and they just totally slam the US covers out of the park. Our Wives Under the Sea is a queer novel following Miri and Leah ends up going on a trip for work where she's like in this submarine for a long time, and she ends up forming a relationship with someone else who is in the submarine. Meanwhile, she is married, and she basically comes back from this like deep dive mission, and her whole demeanor has changed, and the wife Miri is trying to kind of like get her old wife back, or trying to figure out where they are going to go from here in their relationship. It explores a time when 2 people like are trying to decide whether or not they are right for each other, or if they need to diverge into different paths. I think that this book is going to be really interesting. I have seen on Jack Edwards' Instagram, he like posts like some of the quotes in this book, and they look absolutely stunning. I mean, I just think it's going to be a really great literary fiction novel, and just like, I mean, can you with the cover? I can't. Also, all of the books at Toppings Co had this lamination, and like, I am literally obsessed. You know when you go to the library and you like have the lamination of the books? Yeah, it's great. And last book I got at Toppings Co, which was on my second trip, was Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This book, I read the back of this book and I was like, I have to get this. This book is gonna make me absolutely bawl my eyes out. Before the Coffee Gets Cold is a series, I think, of short stories where there is this coffee shop and you get a cup of coffee, and before the coffee gets cold, you get to time travel back into a point in your life where you want like more explanation or a further conversation with someone, or you get the chance to kind of just like redo a part of your life, or get some answers from something that was like left unsaid. It's like focuses on very specific moments in your life that were like life-changing that you didn't get to do, or you wish you would have done. There are different like storylines to this where you're confronting a lover who left you. You are going back in time to visit your husband whose memory has started to fade. Like, it's those kind of things, like very serious life topics. I literally read the synopsis and I teared up, and I just like felt really emotional, and I just like know that this book is going to give me all of the feels. And also, I mean, the foiling, I can't. It's a very short book too. I tried to stick with short books because I knew I could fit more books in my bag then. But like, oh, it's just so, I just have a feeling this is gonna be a really good book. I've heard literally nothing but good things about this. I know a lot of people have read it and loved it. I think it's gonna be such a good book. I think I'm gonna cry a lot. And the last book that I got is a book that I got at a store called Type Wrongers, which was so freaking cute. I saw this bookstore on Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction's channel. She actually lives in Edinburgh, and it was like one of her book shopping videos. I loved this place. It was so adorable. I walked in, it was like pouring rain outside. The person manning the counter was like, "Do you want a cup of tea?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then they proceeded to give me the best cup of tea I've ever had in my entire life. It was wonderful. There was a record playing. It was so cute. The book that I got had a recommendation on it. It was like a typed out from a typewriter, and it was so freaking cute. I absolutely loved this bookstore. It was probably one of like the greatest experiences I had on this trip. But the book that I got from this bookstore is As I Walked Out One Midsummer by Lori Lee. This book is about a man who basically just walks out of his life and goes to pursue a new life. That is what I gathered from the synopsis, and it was recommended by this shop, so I was like, I want to get it. I feel like this book is going to be very introspective, very like you trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, and I always love those kinds of books. It's a really short book, and also I don't know what kind of like Penguin editions these are, but I wish they sold these in the US. I think it's so beautiful. Like they have just like this light blue spine and back, and then on the front, like all of them had like an image and this printed lettering. I wanted a copy of one of these books, and I saw this in the Typewronger's bookshop, and I was like, that's it, that's the one I want. I think this is going to be a book very much in the vein of The Alchemist, if you have read that before. It's a book about figuring out what you want to do with your life and kind of coming to a crossroad and just figuring yourself out. I think that this is what this book is going to be. It was one of those books that was recommended by the bookshop, and I'm like, yep, I'm gonna do that. All right, so those are all of the books that I got on my UK vacation. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. I would absolutely appreciate it because UK book covers are always better than US book covers, and if you agree, give me a thumbs up. I will see you guys in my next video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye!